Hi there. Welcome back to the Pointless Podcast with Carter and Ethan. This is episode 4, and I think we're going to follow the same structure that we did with episode 3 because it kind of worked really well, where we've got some pre-decided topics to talk about, and then we're going to get into questions and suggested topics from people on Instagram. So let's just jump right into it. So in the last episode, people asked about an embarrassing story, and Ethan had one, but then I was sitting there for the...
multiple.
You had multiple embarrassing stories. I had none. So I was like... You can, throughout the entire episode, I was talking, but also in the back of my mind, I was going, I need to find an embarrassing story. And I finally found one. And it's not that I remembered it, it's that something happened in the last time since then.
Okay.
This would have been, this sometimes happens, but, okay. I was coming out of a gas station in my car, and it's a really high curb, and I totally, misjudged where the curb was and turned way too tight, and I just went over the curb. Now, normally if I was at a stop sign, I would have just kept going, right? And it would have been like anyone at the stop sign would have seen it. I never would have seen those people again. It would have been fine. But because I was so paranoid that I had just torn apart the side of my mom's car, I stop, I put the car in reverse, and I shamefully back into the gas station, and there's a guy standing right there and watch the whole thing happen.
Aww.
So if
Did
there
he
was
say anything?
He didn't say anything, but I could see his reaction. He was just looking at me I feel like he would have been laughing.
Teenagers driving.
If I would have just kept going, I would have saved myself so much embarrassment. But the fact that I went over the curb, stopped, and then slowly, and it just backed up the car, curled back into the gas station, got out of the car, looked at the side, no damage, we were good, and I just got back into the car and drove away, all while this guy washing his car,
hopefully
watching
your mom
me.
isn't listening to the podcast.
Mom, if you're listening to the podcast, this was a fake story. It did not happen.
But to everyone else, it was real.
But to everyone else listening to the podcast, it definitely happened.
But if you're Carter's mom, hi Carter's mom.
Hi, Carter's mom. Hi, Mom. Okay. Next thing on the list that is real, unlike the last thing, Mom. Téléfrançais. You don't know what Téléfrançais is,
I have
right?
no idea what it is. I just asked you.
He asked me what it was 10 minutes ago because we were looking at our list of things.
I thought it was television French.
I think that's kind of what it might mean.
I don't know. I saw Téléfrançais.
So basically, I think it's a Canadian thing, and I don't know how many other people actually watch this because it was a thing that we watched in school, in middle school, for French class. It's basically this old TV show from the 80s, I think, or maybe the 90s, but I think it was the late 80s. And it was these two kids, this boy and a girl, and they were followed around by a claymation pineapple.
I know what this is.
Yeah.
I know the Téléfrançais.
Téléfrançais. Yeah. So that.
Yeah. Because
Yeah, no.
I did watch this. I did watch.
There we go. That's what it was. So I just want to talk about that because that show was so
That's absurd.
It's so weird. And my favorite story about this is that when we were in, I think, grade 7, we were watching an episode of it, and the teacher clicked on the wrong version on YouTube, and it was some edited version that someone had taken. And so halfway through the episode, l'ananas, the pineapple, because if you don't speak French, ananas is pineapple in French, so that was his name. It was just pineapple, but in French. So he came down on an umbrella, floating down who's that, Mary Poppins?
Mary Poppins, yeah.
So he's doing a Mary Poppins thing, and he comes floating down, and instead of just landing on the ground, it cuts to someone had re-edited it, and it cuts to a shot of the pineapple landing, and he just melts. He's screaming, and it's just it's claymation, so he's melting. He hits the ground and just starts melting onto the ground. And we were all like, oh my God, what's happening? And the teacher was like, oh my God, I've been looking for this version forever.
What?
She had seen it before and she had never found it again. And she was like, oh my God, guys, we found it. And we were like, what? What is this? And the pineapple's dying.
Lanana
is dead. He hits the ground and starts melting. And we were like, what's happening? It was so weird. Anyways, I just want to talk about Téléfrançais.
Was your French teacher crazy? I have this weird thing. I think all French teachers are
either
either really mean or insane.
Conspiracy theory. All French teachers are insane.
No, mine was so mean.
They're either mean or crazy.
You know what's really funny though is in grade 8, I got my AirPods, right? Not to flex.
Ethan has AirPods. My god.
In grade 8, I got my AirPods, and she wouldn't let us listen to music in that class, right? And I had my emo hair at the time, so it covered my ears, right?
Yeah.
So I just went boop, and then
my god.
and like she never know. She would call on me, and I'd like vaguely hear what she said, and I'd be like, "What?" And she'd be like, "Ethan, are you even listening?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and she'd be like. I don't know. She was awful. She was really bad. We had like a French like student teacher who was really good, but she was awful.
Wow. Yeah, I stopped taking French as soon as high school started.
No, yeah, me too.
As soon as it wasn't mandatory, I was like, sorry. Exactly. As good as it would be to know, because it's really good. Like,
yeah.
Again, like jobs, if you like have the same qualifications but you can speak French, they're like, we're gonna take the French person.
You just write you have French, and then when they ask if
you're like
to
bonjour,
you're like buongiorno.
That's Italian. And then they know you're faking it.
Yeah.
I know the entire Three Little Pigs in French. Because it was drilled into my brain in 8th grade.
What did I have in French? What did we do a lot? To be honest, I can't act like I remember anything from French class at all. I just remember my teacher playing a bunch of like French songs that were really bad.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this was funny. This made me laugh. She said that she won a competition and got to go to Quebec because her and her 2 friends in their 20s had a French comedic rap group. And it was also educational. Comedic educational rap group. All in French.
That is
and there were 3 English
powerful
girls. That's a power move. It's a power move.
Oh
I don't know.
God. Wow. That's insane.
I know.
Anyways, let's move on. We got a lot of French stuff this episode.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to talk about, I think there's a voice crack there. Making a Star Wars movie is a pain in the ass. Mm-hmm. So me and Ethan work at a acting studio for like kids acting classes. And so we're typically responsible for the technical things like sound and video and editing for the films that we make. So a few weeks ago, we made a Star Wars film. Because all the summer camps are based around like different like movie franchises. We do like Stranger Things and Star Wars, that kind of thing. So we did the Star Wars one. I've never spent so much time editing something.
Keyframes.
Because you literally, now, if you know anything about video editing, you'll understand how keyframing works. You have to go frame by frame, and like that's how you like make objects move across the screen. You go frame by frame and change the position of it. So when you're doing lightsabers, you have to, like, we had like the toy lightsaber, so they just have like the blue plastic, but I had to put like the blue light on it, right? So every time the kid moves the lightsaber, every frame, I have to change the position of the lightsaber. So I put a solid like 60 hours of editing into this movie, and it's like a 10-minute movie. So for like, it would take me like 10 to 15 minutes to get like 5 seconds of the film done. Because let's say we're shooting at 24 frames per second. This is all film lingo. If you don't actually understand this, it's not going to make any sense. But if we're shooting at 24 frames per second, for 1 second of footage, 24 frames are taken.
And you need to keyframe every single one.
So I would have to move. I would go, using the arrows on the keypad, I would move forward by 1 frame, change the position of the lightsaber. Move forward 1 frame, change the position as the kid swings the handle of the lightsaber. So I would do that 24 times, change the lightsaber just a tiny bit.
And these kids do a lot of lightsaber
And they do lightsabers, yeah. So and then I would do 24 of those, move it a tiny bit, and that would be 1 second of the film. Mm-hmm. So the amount of time I spent keyframing lightsabers was insane, and I now have I have much more respect for the editors on actual Star Wars films. I'm not sure how the technology differs for a real life thing, because I don't know if they actually just...
I doubt they keyframe.
There's a little more tracking software, I would assume. But I give props to you guys on those Star Wars films or any big CGI thing. I don't know how you do it, because it was absolutely insane. Yeah. Anyways, that's all I want to talk about.
We did a movie together too.
Yeah.
So I worked at camp 2 weeks ago. Is this now? 1 week ago? I don't know. We worked at camp, and me and Carter did that. And that was a lot of fun. But we did like a Stranger Things kind of themed one. But we even making something little small like that, like ours was 15 minutes or so.
15 minutes, yeah.
It's still a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like we filmed everything in like 3 locations, and it still took 3 or 4 days.
Yeah. I think 3.5 days basically.
Like mad respect for people that make movies like all the time.
I don't know how you do it. We're making like low budget. By low budget, I mean no budget.
Yeah.
We're making no budget movies with kids, and it's a lot of work. But so props to you guys that do actual movies and stuff. It's the end of the summer.
Yeah. God, do not remind me.
The date of recording is Saturday, August 24th. I start university on September 4th.
And I start my grade 11 year.
Which means, Siri, how many days until August? No.
How many days
Siri,
until August?
How many days until September 4th?
It's 11 days until that.
I have 11 days until I start university.
That's insane.
So, not going to lie to you, I'm kind of scared. I'm excited. I'm super excited.
How many courses are you doing? What's your course load like?
Too much. I'm actually going to drop some stuff.
Why are you doing so many? It's your first year.
I took a full course load.
Why?
I have 5 and 5, which is all the classes you can take.
Why would you do that?
Because I'm going to drop them. I just got them all in, and then I was like, I'll figure out what I'm going to drop later.
Okay.
So I actually emailed an advisor like yesterday. So I'm going to figure out which ones will make the most sense to drop and then do in the spring term. So I'm going to do in like after the fall and winter's over, they have a spring and a summer term. So I'm going to do it then.
You're not going to do summer though.
I don't want to do summer, but we'll see what happens. I don't really want to, but I'm
if you do summer, do one class.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop 1 or 2 courses, so either like one from my heavier term or like one from each, and we'll see how it works out. Anyways, I do have a full course load as of right now, but I'm gonna change that to probably 4 and 4.
So we're gonna talk about you. Well, next podcast will be filmed once your first week is done, probably. So we're probably gonna film. The week of probably the 7th or whatever.
Yeah, so probably.
Let me hear your thoughts going into
university
on what you think it's going to be like, or what you want it to be like, what you want to get out of it, like
right.
What?
And then we'll see the compare and contrast with after I've done 3 days, because I start on the Wednesday. So I'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of university by the time the next podcast episode comes out, and I will tell you how different it is to what I expected. So. I'm going into the Faculty of Science for microbiology. Now, I don't actually have to pick my degree until like at least next year, if not after. But as of right now, the stuff I'm signed up for slightly prepares me for going into a microbiology degree. It's going to be hard. I know that because, obviously it's university. It's a big step up from high school. But especially with Faculty of Science, there's so many courses that have labs to do and that sort of thing. So I know it's going to be a heavy course load. And it's going to be a big wake-up call for how different it is from high school. But I don't know. It's scary to think that like I'm starting this is like the next big phase of life.
And you're an adult now. You're an adult now.
I'm almost an adult.
Well,
in November, in November, I will become a full-fledged adult when I turn 18. But like this is the first time in my life where my grades actually matter.
Yeah.
Although in grade 12 they kind of matter, but they only matter to get you into university, which then university matters to get you jobs. So this is the first time that like my grades truly matter. So it's kind of scary that like. All in all, things matter now. They didn't really matter before.
Life has consequences.
I have a life now, basically.
Yeah.
Like before then, you don't really have life. It's just like, it's not real. I don't know. It's going to be a lot of work. And like, I like to think I'm going to be prepared and organized. And I definitely think that that's going to go downhill. And I'll tell you after 3 days, next podcast episode. Actually, it won't be the next podcast episode. It will be 2 episodes from now.
Yeah.
Because next week's episode is going to be a conspiracy theory special. Spoiler alert. So after that, I'm probably going to be already disorganized and failing all my classes.
No.
Things like that.
You're a smart person.
We'll see how it goes.
No, but it's weird for me because a lot of you are one of my best friends, and you're moving into university, and a lot of our acting class who have become some of my best friends are also moving into university, and I'm stuck in grade 11, which I have a mixed relationship with high school. I know I'm going to look back and have a lot of nice memories to high school, but at this moment I want to get out. Like I was looking into graduating next year, or this year I mean. Like I was looking into doing grade 11 first semester, grade 12 second semester. Like it's physically possible.
Right.
But I think I'd off myself.
Yeah, so, fair enough. I'm not going to lie, grade 11 was my favorite year. So have fun, man.
I don't know.
Grade 12 gets a little more intense.
I think my favorite... I think this will be the best year because a lot of my friends are in grade 12, so I'm basically treating this as my grade 12 year. Because I kind of want to only do one semester of grade 12. I kind of want to just front load it and then just leave. But this year I'm basically treating it as my last year because my last full year, hopefully, is what my plan is.
Right.
But it's stressful thinking because all my friends are leaving, and it's stressful thinking that like they could move away or you know, like I don't know. Moving on in life it's a very stressful time. Even like I feel like I'm going into university, but I'm not.
But you're not because you're just surrounded by everyone who is. Yeah,
and it's freaking.
I know, and it's those goodbyes that are like one of my friends in like my close friend group. She's not moving far. She's just outside of the city, but she's living at the university.
Mm-hmm.
So she's actually there right now. So hi, Catherine. You just moved a couple days ago. We miss you, and we'll come visit. So that was kind of sad. She's moved away. The rest of us are still here and living at home. But we are all going to not all of us are going to different universities. It's sort of, we're a little bit divided. Divide and conquer around the city, different universities.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a stressful time because... I don't know. Just seeing everyone around you, for me, it's a little hectic with everyone around me. And it's really making me think, I'm like, I don't know if I can do 4 years of university. Like, I'm debating maybe just doing like a trade or something.
I'm doing more than 4 years of university. If I go into microbiology, then I get an undergraduate or like a bachelor's degree in like 4 to 5 years, depending on if I do this co-op program where I get like work experience. It extends even to 5 years. And then I want to do like a graduate degree after that. So... You know, probably like a good 10 years of school.
It's insane. I mean, school in general is crazy. I mean, I don't know. Life's a weird thing, man. It's very hectic.
Yeah, life is hectic.
But I don't know. I don't know what my expectations for this year with high school is. I think it's just going to be more of the same. But I think I've more realized how to not take people's shit. And to be honest, it's not even kids. It's teachers' shit. Teachers are way more up than the kids.
Yeah.
Teachers in my school fucking gossip about kids.
Yeah.
It's awful. True. Like I want to like one day go up to my principal and go up to these teachers and tell them all the things they're doing wrong because there's so much.
Yeah. They
don't know how to run a school and it's completely awful. Like there's a family friend of ours, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. And this is hopefully no teacher ever sees this, but like there's a family friend of ours who's a teacher, and her daughters were going to go to our school, like my school.
Yeah.
And she met with the principal, and she thought our principal was so much of an idiot, she wouldn't let her kids go to my school. Like, my school, I don't know, people...
Yeah.
I don't know. And, like, there was this one teacher, I don't want to name names again, but there's this one teacher who, like, he really didn't like me for no reason, and I could feel like he was just taking out other things on me. Oh. Of like his life, and I'm like, that's not
right.
It's not
you
what
don't need to do that.
I don't know. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. School is a weird thing, and genuinely, life is like high school. It never ends.
Yeah,
it's a never-ending spiral of drama and all of that. So I don't.
That's the thing is that I'm like going in university. From what I know, is that like everyone kind of keeps themselves and like. No one cares about anyone in university. Yeah. Like that's why you'll see people like coming to university in like pajamas and like no one bats an eye because they're all like, I feel that, man. I'm so tired. I would like to be like everyone just is on the same level. They're like, you know what? You're lazy. You showed up to school in pajamas. You don't care. I don't care. We're all on the same level. Mm-hmm. Whereas high school, there's that like people care about like. People care about stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And so I think in university that one nice thing will be that like we can just like there's not going to be that whole element. I mean, don't get me wrong. The drama it's interesting. It's exciting. Mm-hmm. I love hearing all the tea, but sometimes like I think it'll be kind of a nice to get away from that and just be able to focus on school.
Yeah.
But yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, and now a little word from our sponsor, which is definitely a real sponsor.
Yeah.
Not fake at all. Hi, we've been sponsored by the great people over at Life Co. Life Co's been controlling your life since you were a baby. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. It's up to you to start a human uprising, so if you think you're in the Matrix, you're right. Life Co. Stealing your life since birth.
Thank you for that.
Okay, now we're going to get into the second portion of the episode where we answer questions and talk about suggested topics from people on Instagram. So let's pull these out. What do we want to start with?
Do you want to start with Spider-Man thing?
Spider-Man. Okay, so I've got two on here. One says Spider-Man, one says Spider-Man leaving MCU. So, if you haven't heard, earlier this week, Sony and Disney, who owns Marvel, there's been a little of a dispute between the contract because basically the whole scenario is that Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, Sony and Disney, and then Disney owns the rest of Marvel, which is, don't ask why that happens. It's weird that Marvel doesn't own all of Marvel.
Basically, what happened with that is Marvel, when the comic industry was dipping, and superhero movies weren't a thing yet, they sold off the movie rights to keep their business afloat.
Right. So that's how Spider-Man is not actually technically owned by Marvel.
And how the X-Men thing happened, where the X-Men weren't part of the Marvel universe for a while as well.
They were owned by Fox, and then Disney bought out Fox, which is now they own X-Men. It's very confusing. Anyways, thing is, Spider-Man isn't owned by Marvel, it's owned by Sony. Sony made a deal with Disney/Marvel to have Spider-Man in the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where all the characters exist in the same universe, same movie universe. Mm-hmm. So that's why we've had Tom Holland playing Spider-Man with the rest of the Avengers and superheroes in the same universe for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
In the last 4 big movies. But now, after Spider-Man Far From Home, Sony and Disney, there's been a bit of contract issues, and they couldn't decide on a deal, and that means that Spider-Man will no longer be in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Which A, messes up with Sony's plans, and B, messes up with Marvel's plans. But what I have heard is that, so a lot of people were saying that Marvel proposed a 50-50 split, but I heard that's not true.
Oh, really?
Which is from a lot of sources, because it was actually an insider that said that on Sony's side, but the real deal that Marvel had proposed was a 30% of they'd put out 30% of the Spider-Man, how to make it, and then they'd take 30% of the profits, but all profits, because currently right now they take, I think it's 5% of.
I think how it works is that what I read was that Sony gets 100% profits of Spider-Man solo films, and Disney gets 100% profits of Avengers films that contain Spider-Man.
Yeah, I know, there's a lot of things, but one thing that I heard that was cool is what they were actually, what the big part of the negotiation was about Kevin Feige, because Kevin Feige's time is now worth however billions on billions of dollars, and they're not paying him, because Kevin Feige now has to deal with all the Fox stuff like Deadpool, X-Men, Fantastic Four when all those guys move in. And so the cool thing that I heard when I was watching a video, I was watching the video right next to you but Kevin Feige has actually been producing all Spider-Man films since the first Spider-Man film.
Oh, really?
Yes, he had a small role in the Tobey Maguire film, and then a rising role in the Andrew Garfield films, and he actually helped produce Venom as well, and he produced these Spider-Man films, but he was unnamed.
Right.
Because he worked for Marvel or whatever, but now one of the things is he wanted a producer credit, but they wouldn't give it to him for some reason.
That's stupid, yeah. So anyways, basically Spider-Man isn't going to be part of the MCU anymore, which screws a lot with the plot, because they've been setting up a lot of Spider-Man being the next big superhero in the MCU.
Yeah, basically next Tony Stark.
Now they're going to just ignore the fact that Spider-Man ever existed, which screws it up. And they can't even say that he died, because if they say that he died and then all of a sudden they figure out a contract a few years in the future, what are they going to do?
Exactly.
So they have to just they're just going to ignore that he exists? I don't know. My thoughts on it are, and people are actually, it started with people wanting to boycott Sony, then people are now saying that they're mad at Disney for being so greedy. I'm not going to lie, I know that Disney is typically, they can get a little greedy and they're trying to buy every company ever.
I don't think their deal, what they proposed, was greedy at all.
I don't think it was greedy at all. Even if it was a 50-50, I think Disney should just buy Sony. That's my opinion.
That's another thing.
I think they deserve to just have Spider-Man. I'm sorry, Sony. I know that you made a really good Into the Spider-Verse, but I honestly think that Spider-Man should just be a part of Marvel. Regardless of how greedy Disney was, why can't they just have Spider-Man? That's my thoughts on it.
But also, you know that they would never actually, the government wouldn't say yes to Disney buying Sony, because they would have a full monopoly over almost every corporation, because they just bought Fox.
Yeah. I mean,
they bought a Fox for $108 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That's insane.
I just buy Spider-Man then. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Just please buy Spider-Man. Disney.
I don't know.
I know Sony. I don't know if they'll ever agree to that, but I really think that that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Whatever. Anyways, let's move on to some other things. What's your opinion on my dog? And if you don't answer the question, I de-cousin you. That's a question from my cousin, who's not actually my cousin. Wait, she's definitely my cousin, Abby. I love your dog. I've never actually met your dog, but he seems amazing, and I'd love to meet him. That's my answer. How people pretend that they care about the planet and all the stuff that is happening.
That's a big thing. I have thoughts on that.
Spoiler alert, the Amazon rainforest is on fire.
Oh my god, wait, I haven't seen that.
You haven't seen that?
Oh my god.
You mean it hasn't been all over social media for the past week?
Yeah, it makes me mad. Like I have thoughts on it because it makes me so mad when people are like, oh, I'm saving the planet because I reposted that the Amazon rainforest is on fire, or like I get so mad because when you see, you're like flipping through Real Story and then there's one going around where it's like the content aware thing, so you have to like click it, and I'm like, and I click it because I think it's a different video, but it's never a different video. It's the same video of like a shark like being farmed, and I'm like, I mean, like that sucks. Sharks being farmed sucks, but what are you gonna do? You're gonna post a video about it?
Yeah.
Like, no, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't help. Like, if you really cared, you donate or like do something like that.
Yeah.
But like you don't, so stop posting about it.
Yeah. Anyways, that's it. I do think though that one thing that I definitely do agree with is the fact that people were angry that the Amazon rainforest fire wasn't known about for like 3 weeks, and that. To me, like that, this question is about how people pretend that they care about the planet. Like, we also like social media doesn't show a lot of that. And I think when I first found out that the rainforest thing, and it was actually before it got really big, like I saw it somewhere. Right, it was like a day before it went like trending, and I saw it somewhere, and I was like, that is messed up. Like we should. That's a big thing, like how big the role that the Amazon rainforest has with like the ecosystem of like the earth is like super important, and just the fact that I didn't know about it for like, or like we didn't know about it as a whole for like 3 weeks is like weird. It's not how it should be. And I think there's downsides to social media, but there's also like, why can't we utilize it to let people know about it so that we can have people donating and helping out? It was just, I thought that was like so weird that like I hadn't heard about such a big thing for like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So I just think we need more of that. Like, we need to hear about things more, and also just, if you're not going to do anything, just don't post it on your Instagram story. But I mean, I guess it helps with I guess on the other hand is that it helps get awareness.
I don't know. I
but
just
like,
hate seeing it over and over and over and over.
Yeah, I think it's annoying, but it's also like, okay, I guess there's a point to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one's about Amazon Fire. We just talked about that. Favorite music.
Oh, what kind of music do you like? I don't actually know what kind of music you like.
I listen to indie folk.
Like what? Like who?
Like
name some for
of
me,
Monsters
Carter.
and Men.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like Little Talks. Songs like
just
that.
Just Little Talks.
Just that song on repeat. I have a Spotify playlist is just that song. Indie folk, like a little bit like indie kind of rock stuff, like from OK Go.
Okay, yeah.
So like that kind of thing.
It's the whitest music taste I've ever heard of.
Oh, I know. And then also like 80s. Like 80s pop.
80s is actually a gap in my music history.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of skipped.
Oh god, I love 80s music. It's so good because it's so like just like wacky.
I'm a musician, so I make music. So I listen to music all the time. I like basically all music. I don't listen to a lot of like electronic music, but that's basically it. But I really like indie and like folk. I really like folk music.
Yeah.
I went to Folk Fest. Have you ever been to Folk Fest?
I've never been to Folk Fest.
Folk Fest is great. It's really nice.
Okay, so that kind of concludes that segment of answering questions. We didn't get as many as we did last time, which is sad. So maybe next time we'll get more. Before we end the episode, we're just going to talk about the new Quentin Tarantino movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Are we gonna do spoilers? Or are we gonna kick people off?
I would say
let's do no spoiler. Let's do no spoiler.
I think.
Okay, we.
I think the key thing has to do with spoilers.
Okay, let's kick people off.
So, if you haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I would say don't listen to this segment.
Or planning to see it.
And like, yeah, you can probably just end the podcast because the only thing you're missing after this would be our outro, which doesn't really matter. So follow us on social media. That's all we're probably going to say. Yeah, so now we'll get into Once Upon a Time in Hollywood spoilers and talk about just the film.
Yeah.
So here we go. So I saw it kind of right around when it came out.
Yeah, I saw it I think a week after.
Right. What would you say? Did you like it or not like it?
I was mixed about it because in my opinion, it didn't feel like a lot of Tarantino films feel like nothing really happens, but in this one, in my opinion, nothing happened. Like I didn't think there was a story.
That's the
I didn't
thing.
think like it was good, but it was the most Tarantino of any film of like kind of out there, nothing really happens, and also I didn't like how it switched kind of how it was shot, like this, like how it was
the narrative, like how it was told.
It switched it a lot, and I didn't really like that.
Yeah, fair enough. I think for me I was simultaneously bored but not bored.
Exactly, that's what.
I think I was bored to the point where I found it interesting. Which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like just because it's boring, but I think it was. It wasn't so much. It was like I didn't know what it was leading to, and so I was like. I thought, like, in my mind, I was like, I should be bored by this by not having, like, any, like, what's happening. But I was like, but because nothing's happening, I want to know why it's happening. So I was, like, super interested in, like, I think the end paid off because it felt the ending was, really was very Tarantino.
Yeah.
It, changed history. Like, it did a twist on a historical event. And B, it was just gore.
A dog ate a guy's penis.
Yep. And Leonardo DiCaprio with a flamethrower torching a girl.
Oh, that was awesome.
Beautiful.
I wanted him to say the line that he said in the sauerkraut line.
And then just throwing the can of beans into the girl's face and like breaking her nose.
I thought that Brad Pitt and Tarantino did such a good job in that film. Like they did really well. And I think I like that Tarantino changes history, like changes historical events, but makes them more satisfying. Because this one, he changed the, what's her name? Something Tate. Yeah, Sharon Tate?
Sharon, yeah.
I think that's her name.
I think that's, yeah. So she was, if you don't know the Manson murders, her and other people
Roman
were murdered.
Polanski.
Yeah, he didn't die though. He was in
away.
Europe.
Yeah,
he was filming something in like Europe. But she and I think there were some friends at the house too. They were like killed and they cut the baby out of her or something. Oh. Like it was like really gruesome. They were just cult people. Manson, Charles Manson family. It was like a really gruesome murder. They killed this actress, right? Instead of that happening, the murderers instead of going to her house, they go to her neighbor's house, which is Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. So Brad Pitt is like in the movie, his character Cliff something is like a stuntman, and he's like super good at like fighting and stuff. So these murderers come to the house, and instead of killing Sharon Tate, they attack the neighbors, who happens to be this stunt guy. He's got this it's a pit bull, right?
Yeah, it's a pit bull.
He's got so basically this super like good at fighting stuntman and his pit bull take down these like murderers, and it's just so satisfying because you're like. In history, you've got this gruesome murder that was really tragic, but instead, all the cult members get killed in those gruesome way, like ripped apart by a dog. The one girl, I think the only time that I like went from like that was the first. That's the thing about Tarantino movies is you're in a movie in the theater cheering at the most gory things.
Yeah,
and you never get that in other movies. It's like, oh, gory, that's scary. But in Tarantino movies, it's like, yeah, it's so gory, it's so cool. And like, I think the only time that I was like starting to almost feel like queasy, not queasy, but like I don't really get sick of those things. But like the only time I felt off was when he was smashing her head into
with the beans can. Oh no, into the fire mantle.
Into the mantle and into the telephone receiver. Yeah. That's where it's like I was imagining my face being smashed into like a stone like brick. Gross. And I was like, that's when I was like, ooh, like I'm just trying to imagine that impact, and it just like really grossed me out. But other than that, like the girl getting torched with the flamethrower in the pool, or like the dog ripping her apart, it was just so good and so satisfying to see like that tragic murder turned like satisfying. Tarantino did it once before in Inglourious Basterds when they shred Hitler to pieces with a machine gun. You seen Inglourious Basterds?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So instead of like Hitler kills himself in real life right? But instead of that, they have a bunch of Nazis in a theater, and like a Jewish girl like locks them in a theater and like burns them. So the irony is like
it's really good.
All the concentration camps.
I love that
but
movie.
Instead they burn all the Nazis, and then they kill Hitler with a machine gun. And
I
it's
love
like
the scalping thing.
Yeah, and it's just like he like changes. He like takes like a tragic event in history, but makes it so much more satisfying because the bad guys lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about Tarantino's stuff when he does those historical things.
So to sum it up, what was your rating? Give me your rating.
Honestly, like despite it like not having much of a plot except for the like it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that's what it talked about. It talked about once like just day in the life of a Hollywood guy in the 60s or the late 60s. And so I mean I guess that's what the point of it was. Despite like kind of not knowing where it was going, I'd honestly probably give it like a good 8 out of 10.
I would say 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. Yeah. So I'd agree. Yeah.
I really liked it.
I thought it was a good movie.
Like I was, as much as I was confused, the ending paid off and like it made more sense. A second viewing, which I think I'm gonna go with my friends in like next week or something. A second viewing would like make more sense to me because I know what's supposed to happen and I can like pick up on other things. Other than that, thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Great. I like Quentin Tarantino.
I love movies. Movies are good.
Movies are good. Movies are just good. I think that wraps up the podcast episode.
So, thank you guys for listening.
Follow us on social media, Instagram, TikTok, Carter Ketchup, Ethan Lyric. I don't know everything will be in the description. Yeah. Also his YouTube channel, Ethan Lyric.
Yeah, I make music.
Links will be everywhere in the description, probably on the screen somewhere.
Thank you guys.
Thanks for listening.
This is the last one we're filming here. We've already filmed
next week's episode
because we wanted it for episode 5, but this will be the last episode we're actually filming here because I'm moving. So we're gonna have a new set in 2 weeks.
2-ish weeks. We will be in a new place, which I think is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
So that's all for this episode. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Yeah. Peace out.